legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the Law Offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues here, powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Be sure to take control of your account management and energy consumption with the MyMTE app. You can download the app in the App Store to manage your account, improve your energy habits, and more. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936. A guy who was born that year, State Representative Mike Sparks, joins us this morning.
How you doing? You doing
I'm
good?
doing okay.
You like that coffee I brought you?
You never get my order right, but that's okay.
What do you drink? I mean, is it one cream, one sugar?
I put a couple of cream little packets in there, and then the of course Splenda. I have a little Splenda.
I'm sorry,
I like
got
it
it
sweet.
black.
You bring honey up and stuff. Weird.
Well, you know
stuff
that
too. I mean,
years ago, I shared
drinks
that
coffee
story
with honey.
I do. I shared that story with. I carried a cup of coffee, an extra coffee up here for Scott one morning, and Truman was here, and I laid it down, and Truman said, "What's that coffee for?" Or something. I was like, "Well, that's for Scott." He goes, "Scott doesn't drink coffee." I said, "I thought Scott drinks coffee." He goes, "No." I said, "Well, do you want it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And then I come back to the studio, and Scott says, "Hey, where's my coffee?" I said, "Well, Truman said you don't drink coffee." He says, "Yeah, I do. He knows I drink coffee." And I thought it was kind of a fast one that the former sheriff pulled on Scott. I thought it was.
Well, you don't even know the rest of that story. He walked out and poured it down the sink.
Did he really?
No, I don't know.
I hope not. How's he doing? I hadn't seen him in a long time.
Doing okay from what I hear.
That's good.
Man about town.
Yeah.
Who is this young man that you have brought in today?
Handsome devil, full of energy.
Not 1936.
1936. When I look around the community sometimes or across the state, and I see folks who just stand out as heroes, man. And this dude is one of my heroes, Daryl Mackin with The Soldier's Child. He is a well-oiled machine. And if we had 1,000 other Daryl Mackins across this state, man, we could just turn the doom and gloom around to positive and raise the sunshine and butterflies. How you doing, man?
Good, brother.
You better get your wallet out for that, right?
I got to put my boots on for that.
Yeah.
Daryl, of course, gosh, how many years has this been now for you and a soldier's child?
15.
15.
Yep.
I mean, I remember having those first conversations with you, and now look at where it is and where it's grown.
Yes, sir. You've been pretty faithful to us. I appreciate that.
Well, tell us about A Soldier's Child, because there's so many people that move here into our community, and so many people every day from outside of the area, and maybe they don't know what A Soldier's Child Foundation is and what you do. So maybe explain that to us a bit.
Sure. So the elevator speech is, essentially A Soldier's Child Foundation cares for the children who've lost a military mom or dad. And we started back after my neighbors, Henry and Faye Golzinski, lost their son, Marine Staff Sergeant Marcus Golzinski, by sniper fire, March 27, 2007. And it was just, a couple things happened. One of them was Henry had questioned to me that if it really mattered and if people care. And, I was a veteran. I am a veteran. I was in the Navy, and it dawned on me that I had never, prior to that moment, I had never really thought of the families of our fallen and what they go through. So just as a simple act of compassion, my family and I bought some birthday gifts for Henry's grandson, and we celebrated his birthday at a memorial for his father back in 2008. And then from there, we heard about another child that had experienced a loss, and before you knew it, we had 10 kids and then 20, and it was just celebrating their lives on their birthdays in honor of their fallen parent. And from that simple act, we've grown to over 5,000 children all across the country. We celebrate over 250 birthdays every month. we spend about $35,000 a month on birthday gifts alone. We started our first camp in 2010, and we will have 22 camps this year. Yeah. And
Wow.
and not just in Tennessee, but from Maine to Texas to Nebraska, just all, pretty much we're kind of moving around the country. We're trying to start actually we have started a second chapter, if you would. It's really not a chapter because we're running everything out of our office still, but in Texas. We have folks that called Lone Star Founders, and they specifically started to support our work in Texas because it's the most children we have. There's over 500 children. Actually, I think it's closer to 700 now within the state of Texas that we serve. And we do camps and a bunch of different things down there in Texas. So that has grown. We now have our own scholarship. For the longest time, I think you remember, we used to do scholarships, but we were like a mediator. We'd get our families fast tracked through other scholarship, military scholarship organizations that cared for the children. But now we have our own. We have a Christmas program. We have a leadership program, an outdoor program. I mean, it's kind of rock star stuff that we're doing now.
I bet you never imagined 15 years ago that would be where you are today, or did you?
No, I just, kind of, it was a deposit that I felt that God had given me, in spite of, my humanness. I believe anyone that's used by God is, has flaws and whatnot. We're all human. But it was something that hit home for me. I didn't have a father growing up. My dad took off from my mom when I didn't expect to say any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just telling story. But anyhow, my real father had PTSD and left my mom with 8 kids. And then my stepfather had the same thing. And he left when I was 12.
Wow.
And I was a mess for years. Have you ever heard this? Have I ever told you?
I don't think so.
No. So, well, just came out today.
Yeah.
But long story, God rescued me when I was about 30. I'm 60 now. So, he just put it in my heart that this would be an area of my life that I could pour out in. It was my pain to some extent, not having a father, and for the reason. And so I'm very passionate about it, and I love it. It fulfills my life, my family, and until the day I die, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, I mean, I remember going back to the days where you were doing this on the side and we're at Blackman,
Yeah.
and so
it was a side gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in 2013, it couldn't be a side gig anymore. We had, at that point, when I resigned from teaching, we had over 400 children. We had a $65,000 budget, and now we're the highest budget we have. We're over $2 million, just in operation.
Wow.
And it's insane. I mean, just birthday gifts alone, we're spending $500,000. And someone had questioned me one time, is that the best use of money? And I'm like, good golly.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to communicate
Yes.
back to a child who's lost a military parent that you are seen.
Mm-hmm.
You're not invisible. We honor you on your special day. And we've heard countless reports from moms that it means so much. It's something so simple, but it means so much that you come back
Yes.
every year on my son or daughter's birthday and honor their father in this way by celebrating their child's life. It's genius stuff that we stumbled upon.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah. For soldierschild.org, by the way, online, we'll get that posted on the podcast. But Henry and Faye, I've known them for so many years. Operate, Franklin's Print Works, and for those that don't know that, and I pulled up your website and I see their grandson there and think he's 15 years older now.
Yeah.
So what is there an update on him, how he's doing and all that kind of thing?
So he graduated from Alabama, and I know he was a big time lacrosse player and went in on a scholarship. Plus he had funding for it, but I'm really not up to date what he's doing exactly now. I think he's doing really well. I see little postings from time to time, but he's doing well. So is his mom.
Isn't that it? Not only lit the flame in you, but I think that iconic picture that Mike talks about it kind of lit a flame here in the community to give you kind of an underwhelming support.
No question.
To start, don't you think?
Happen. Yes, that did happen. Yeah, if I imagine if the tie wasn't there, the tie to Henry and Franklin Printing and, just being within the community, there was a lot of numerous people and organizations and businesses that rallied behind the idea of doing this work, and that's how we got started.
Now, you were kind of nomadic at first, in terms of skipping around places and whatnot, right? So,
still doing it. I leave tomorrow to New Hampshire.
But you actually have I don't want to call it headquarters. That sounds like your superhero, meeting place. But
we have an office.
You got an
Smyrna.
office.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we're up to 6 staff now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. So actually tomorrow I'm going to New Hampshire, flying into Boston and driving to New Hampshire, and then attending the National Hot Rod Association Top Fuel Races, where Tony Schumacher is driving the Maynard family Skag. Skag Power Equipment.
Yeah.
They sponsored a car, and there's a bunch of other sponsors as well, but our logo is on that car. And we're honoring a family at that race, at that championship in Epping, New Hampshire. And Skag, listen, if you're going out to get power equipment, make sure it's Skag, because they just donated $100,000 to our scholarship program.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Skag Power Equipment, yeah.
That's quite awesome.
Yeah.
Our guest here in studio today, along with State Representative Mike Sparks, Daryl Mackin with the Soldier's Child Foundation. We're going to talk more about that, and I've got a guest joining us by phone here in just a few as well. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more Rutherford Issues on the other side.
If you're looking for an authentic relationship with financial experts who genuinely care about your unique needs, Capstar Bank is for you. Capstar Bank is dedicated to the people of this community. Capstar Bank wants to help you reach your financial goals, because at Capstar Bank, you matter to us. Capstar Bank, 2230 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, capstarbank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We're visiting with Jennifer Sanchez, manager of Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift at 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
You're not just walking into just a big warehouse. You're walking into rooms. We've got a media room. We've got a boutique room. We've got a vintage room, a furniture area, kitchen, all that.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift.
Every day you go in there, I promise you it's changing.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift, 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Online at steeredstraightthriftstore.org.
Rutherford Issues on News Radio WGNS.
Back on the show, State Representative Mike Sparks has brought in Daryl Mackin with the Soldier's Child Foundation, and guest joining us by phone here as well. And this is a really interesting story about how all of this came about.
Yes.
And support the
Yes.
Soldier's Child, right?
Yes. Wendy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Mike?
Hey, appreciate you coming in. I think I gave you a whole week notice, didn't I, to call in? Like 10 minutes.
Sure.
Same thing with Daryl. But
I got the same thing, Wendy.
Wanted to let me back up and share something. I often talk about God wink moments. I mean, y'all know this story. Brian knows the story. I want listeners to know the story. Even Einstein, who was a genius, said coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. And, Daryl and I, we ran a bill, 5-6 years ago for a Soldier's Child to create a Soldier's Child license plate. Well, it is a Herculean effort to go pre-sale and collect the money on 1,000 plates. And, Daryl's limited staff. I mean, he's growing, great organization, very efficient. And then, Wendy, you called me 2 years ago and you said, hey, I want to run a Jeep license plate. And I was like, well, I don't think Jeep's going to allow you to do that because it's trademarked. I said, and you're also going to have to start a nonprofit. Well, you didn't want to go to all that trouble. And then I think I got to thinking, or you and I got to talking. I said, what about helping the Soldier's Child? And you did that, and you sold, was it 1,160 Jeep? It's called Explorer Tennessee with the Jeep front cover that I guess, how many has already been picked up from your fellow Jeep community so far? Because I know you sold, 1,160 of them, didn't you?
Yeah, 1185 was our pre-sale. We had to sell 1,000, but we sold 1185. I don't know the total number now. I have a email sent to the state to find out, so we can keep track of how many have been sold. They are publicly available at the DMVs, so I have no idea on what has sold after it went available to the general public.
Yes.
Now,
But I know a lot because I have a Facebook page and people keep showing me their new plates,
Cool.
and the numbers are way in the 2000s.
they keep posting. Now, what is the name of your Jeep group here?
The Jeep plate is Explore Tennessee.
Right.
There's multiple Jeep groups on Facebook, but I belong to Jeeps and Wrenches, which is the Jeep Club.
Okay. And you said that there are many around. Everyone who has a Jeep, they're obviously very proud of that. Can you explain the duck thing to me, though?
That is a very, very common question. What that is a lady named Allison Parliament. She's from Canada, but she also has a home in Georgia. And she had a bad day and decided to put a duck on somebody's vehicle. I don't even know that it was a Jeepers, but she is a Jeeper. And it made him smile. So all it is a random act of kindness to make people smile.
There's one person in particular, and I don't even know who they are, but I see them drive by, and they've got, their dashboards full of them. So, it's just one of those things that when you started talking, I wanted to know. So, inquiring minds.
Yep. Common question.
Daryl, I know that, any type of means of being able to receive funds, all of that goes right back to supporting these children. And, that this is a pretty neat way. Who would have thought that,
Yeah, well, we're grateful for the support from Wendy and others that give to a soldier's child. The Jeep community is very patriotic. There's no question about that. Yes.
And you had an event last year, Wendy, and I guess it was kind of a recruiting event just to try to get people to purchase those license plates. And they had something in Smyrna last year, if I recall.
Actually, 2 years ago, we've had two of them at the park out on Jefferson Pike. The first year was to recruit. The second year was to celebrate that we did reach our goal, and we're just waiting on our plate. So, yeah, we've had a couple events out there, and it was really a lot of fun to have Jeepers from across the state join us.
So now that we're past all of the, requirements to even put the plate in circulation. So now you're saying that anybody who wants this Explore Tennessee license plate with the front of a Jeep, I think it looks like it's climbing over a rock or something like that, if I remember right, they can get that at the, when they register their vehicle?
Yeah. Yep. It's a black plate, and they just ask for Explore Tennessee. Many of them have them in stock. Others are ordering them, so it's become very popular.
Well, and Mike maybe can even put it on his 1999 Kia Sorento.
He bought his wife a Jeep, so
I did buy her a
Jeep.
Jeep.
It on that.
I got her a Commander. I saved a little bit of money,
That's all right.
But Jim, one thing that, and I'll just be transparent on this, Wendy is so passionate and Daryl's so passionate. They're both just type A, machines and like Terminators, man. And I kept thinking, man, these two folks are going to butt heads when they meet. They're so passionate. But what is so cool, and I want to give a shout out to Brian Hercules and Mayor Reed of Smyrna for being so supportive. But I was sitting right beside Wendy at your event, Daryl, and she stroked, I forgot how many thousands of dollars that her organization wrote a check that day, and then with Mayor Reed at the event back in the fall. And that's a good example of the private-public partnership and folks with passion, that want to make a difference in the community. So to me, I can't think of this is one of the proudest bills I've ever ran in Tennessee General Assembly. And what is so cool is Wendy not only went out and sold the 1,185 Jeep license plates, now she stepped up to sell a soldier's child's license plates because he ran that bill, that passed. Wendy, where do you get all this energy? What are you taking?
Nothing. I just like to keep it rolling.
So Daryl, you're going through this process. It's very laborious, isn't it? I mean, the whole process of getting a license plate approved.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, because I have Wendy.
Yes.
It's not for you then.
It's not for me.
Yes.
She's really, she's helped us in the office of the license plate that we ultimately decided we're going to have in honor of a soldier's child, the organization. And then, she's done everything, to be quite honest. She could tell you what she's gone through to get it passed, but it's been all Wendy, quite honest.
Well, Wendy, you're going to make yourself, as the go-to person if you want to
people are going to be calling you, Wendy.
Well, actually, other states do contact me, multiple other states, because what I love about it is we are the second state to have a Jeep license plate. Florida was the first, and they used the back of a Jeep. We used the front of the Jeep, so I did have to go through, and this was not fun, but I did have to go through, I was trying to think of the name, but of the legal organization, but I had to go through Jeep to get the trademark approved, and we are the first state to have a Jeep trademark approved from Jeep. So I was very happy about that. We're the second state to have a Jeep plate, and I was also very proud to walk the process through for Daryl's group for the Soldier's Child. I'm going to, thanks for the praise, but it really is not that hard to get a plate through. You just have to read each state. They have requirements. The hard part is selling the 1,000 plates.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what the hardest part is.
We're in the middle of that right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you have trouble getting the approval from to use the Soldier's Child logo or anything like you did with Jeep?
No.
Nope, I think we got a trademark on that as well. So
Hey, Wendy.
It's a beautiful place.
Share that story. You opened up to me about, I guess it was a year ago, about, I call them haters. You always got that Debbie Downer, that pessimist that's just poking like a mosquito in your ear. And you and I talked about that and how God uses adversity and can even use haters to I call them they let your haters be elevators. Share that story about that one. You don't have to say the guy's name on the radio, but share that little story. I think that's a great life example of how God can use even haters to lift you up.
So it was interesting, and I do want to appreciate Daryl on it, because Daryl has a Facebook page with many, many members, and this was my first time having over 4,000 members on a page. I didn't have that many back then, but people are not nice sometimes, and they just are very selfish and think of themselves, and just make their keyboard warriors, things that they would put on Facebook, they would not tell you to your face.
Yes.
This person might. But anyways, we had a person that I had polls for everything. I didn't want to be the deciding factor on things, not the Wendy show.
Yeah.
So I, had them come up with multiple names and then vote on the name. Designs, vote on the design. The charity that we donated to, and then vote on that. So during the design process, I even put on the page, I'm just a secretary here. I'm just pushing paper. If there is trademark or other requirements, it's up to you guys, the designers, to do that. Well, they didn't do that. And one guy pointed it out. You're going to need a trademark for the tires and for the fender wells, and then the Jeep itself. And I was already in the process of doing that because I recognized people were not doing it, but I hadn't heard back from Jeep. So it just turned into not a pleasant experience, and now he has taken credit for getting the approval, because if he wouldn't have said anything, that wouldn't have happened, and they would have taken our plate away and just blah, blah, blah. But I put that past me. I don't know. He probably don't have a Jeep plate, but he might have a Jeep plate.
Yes.
It all worked out great. But
Yes.
he was mistaken.
Yes.
Well, our time's about to get away. I want to make sure jeepsandwrenches.com. You can go there and find out all about that. And if you want to talk to Wendy about the plates and that kind of thing, if you're a Jeep enthusiast, this may be the group for you. And Daryl.
Actually, let me correct you. For the Jeep plate, that's just a club I belong to.
Right.
For the Jeep, and we welcome all off-roaders. But if you want to know about the Jeep plate and keep up to date on any other information, it's tnjeepplate.com. That's the Facebook page for that.
Okay.
So Tennessee Jeep Plate, all one word, .com.
Very good. I was just thinking they could get your contact information, but Daryl Mackin, a Soldier's Child Foundation as well, and we'll be looking for those plates. Let us know. We'll be sure to spread the word. We'll try to get them sold.
We have it on our Facebook page, so
Okay.
Facebook/The Soldier's Child. They can see it right there.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you all coming in today, and Mike,
All right.
you hit a home run, even though, a little more notice would be
Every now and then I
okay.
get it right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Daryl.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Appreciate them joining us today. And if you missed part of the show, you can check our website, WGNSradio.com. Look under Rutherford Issues and tap on the podcast. Find us on Big G TV on YouTube and wherever you listen to audio, Spotify, iTunes, Google. We're at all those places.
Where is the best barbecue in town? In 1920, East Main, the best barbecue for miles around.